This time on my classic WoW journey, we're taking the fight. What? Get off me! Go! Whew, looks like we're good. Anyways, this time on Azeroth, we're gonna attempt to
I'll end you!
Really? Leave me alone. Can't you see I'm trying to do an intro for my docu-series on one of the greatest games known to man? Listen
Yeah!
That's right. Now, as I was saying, of course there's more. Why the hell wouldn't there be? Okay, I think we're good now. I ran far enough away, they won't bother me. We're starting off today by re-entering the Charred Vale. Barasker, I thought you hated the Charred Vale. Yes, I do, very much so. But I am determined to explore everywhere and get all the flight paths available to me. And after being chased out of the Charred Vale, I entered Desolus, home of the Centaur people, demons, and depressed renditions of dino rhinos. It is a gray, dry, hostile, and borderline radioactive zone. I guess you could say it's a desolate wasteland. I do not like it here one bit, and it is one of the few zones I don't think I'll do any leveling in at all, really. My friend, who's also new to the game, requests that I help them with a quest in Tearsfall Glades. Being the kind, thoughtful, loving, caring, handsome, humble, and most importantly, intelligent troll that I am, I oblige. Immediately after I help my friend, I gather a group for Scarlet Monastery graveyards, and the library as well. It took a while to find a group, but luckily we were all decently geared, so there wasn't much worry. We flew through the graveyards with only minor problems involving yours truly, stealing aggro, and line of sight issues. Quickly after completing the first dungeon, we went right into the library, killing the Hound Master and looting the dog whistle, which sadly only has a few charges. This was the dungeon where I finally greeted and needed on almost every single item that we looted, and for the first time I came out on top. My luck had even rolled me a 95 on a chest. I was that asshole that needs for no reason because I wanted it or because I wanted the money for selling it. We move on to the last room in the library. Our group takes on Arcanist Doan, one of the first bosses where I had to ignite the flames beneath the hamsters running on wheels on both sides of my cerebral cortex. He had a mechanic where we had to leave the room so we did not die. After slaying him, we got access to all the books within his library, one of which I needed to complete a quest, and I guess the fire I lit under the hamsters went out as I completely ignored my quests and I hearthed out. Upon returning to Undercity, I check my mail, and the plant man returns with a new valuable to aid me in getting my mount. And Galback, the leather worker, sends me his finest work, a 14-slot quiver, a headband, pants, and chest piece all stacked with agility and HP. I love mail, keep sending me mail. Once I realize that I still need the books for my quests, I return to the library, but this time with just a mage. At first I thought this would never work, but yet this mage had a plan he knew inside and out, and I was merely there to DPS for him. He needed books as well, and since we had common goals, I decided it would be in my best interest to help him. He was an undead named Silly Hats, and although his name had Silly in it, it was me who would be the fool this run. We slowly whittled down the first corridor of mobs. One drops the Butcher, a nice upgrade to my arsenal, and since I was the only one willing to help the mage, he allowed me to need it. We go out into the courtyard and he instructs me to follow him along a wall between some benches. Unfortunately for us, I have a higher aggro range being lower level, and a radical Rart at my side. By now I've mastered pressing my Feign Death button, and the mage somehow gets away unscathed. It turns out that you can reset aggro in Scarlet Monastery by jumping onto the windowsills, something that would come in handy when two-manning this dungeon. We go back out, and once more, I am a detriment to our success, and I pull more mobs. I then get self-conscious about my size due to not being able to fit in the spaces where he could, but I eventually got over my insecurities, and we finally made it to the next hallway. It was going smoothly until we pulled too many mobs at the fault of yours truly. Sitting atop the windowsill, we wait until the Scarlet Crusaders give up, but this time they didn't. and my microscopic, under the optic, pickpocket, out of pocket, Davy Crockett, bop it! Shopping at Hot Topic, Luke Hagen, Red Robin, Dog Noggin, Troll Frog, and Coleslaw, and Cola, drinking, drink stain, infected grain, defective brain, decided I should summon my pet back while we had aggro. He spawned, but was not anywhere to be seen. I couldn't dismiss him, feed, or have him attack. The Crusaders just sat there and watched. I eventually tried feigning, which seemed to have worked instead of the windowsill. My pet magically appeared soon after. We grabbed the required books, he thanked me, and we parted ways. I find myself traveling back into Stranglethorn Vale. I may or may not have an ecstasy-induced Stockholm syndrome from constantly having gnome blood on my hands and face. While swimming around the Vile Reef, Blizzard then works their magic by assisting me in finding the Spirit Healer, where my tainted soul can ask for forgiveness for sending all those gnomes her way. My quests were giving me difficulty, and so I grouped with a Tauren shaman and an undead rogue. We slew the sea raccoons, and once I had what I needed, I ditched them as my hunger for, duty to slay gnomes was calling. After walking from Gromgal Base to Booty Bay with no gnomes in sight, I found an Alliance player called Seaman, speaking in troll tongue. I laughed at the sight of him and I thought nothing of it. But I guess he took great offense to my laughter, because minutes later I was sitting on the dock waiting for my ship to arrive and I suddenly got shot. Naturally, I run out of the line of sight and looking out to the bay, I see Seaman swimming over. He yells in my own language, "I will get you, Rosker. You can run, but you cannot hide." Hiding behind some boxes, I spot him running up to where he last saw me. He then attempts to finish me off, but I trick him with a feint and the bruisers deal with him. I laugh at him for the fool he is, and I leave him in my dust. Water. The next encounter I feel is 1 in a million chance. In my experience, at least. We find a dwarf female who was hostile on sight as well. We hand in our quests, and a fellow hunter decides to listen to the schizophrenic voices in his mind, and they attack unprovoked. Unfortunately for him, he sucks dick at this game, and I don't as much as he does. As the clear winner, I execute this puny low-level player for fucking with me. Afterwards, the female dwarf chases me across the shimmering flats, and I am pushed into a corner and I meet my fate. I come back to the same person after they just lost a duel, and since I was already salty, I put some of my salt into their pre-existing wounds. They then get their high-level, gaslit, hey pig, I'll protect you milady, e-dater to deal with me. After which, she camps my corpse. To fight fire with fire, I round up 2 higher level players and I have them corpse camp her until she logs off. No one fucks with the filming of my docu-series, no one! This is my show, I run this shit! The next day, I decided to level in Arathi Highlands. I was killing trolls until I found a lone gnome supposedly doing the same quest. I don't share with their kind, and I made sure he knew his place. We finished killing trolls and raptors, so I moved to Hillsbrad to look for some ores and players to PvP with. Along my usual route, I find an abundance of dead turtles. Who could do such a barbaric, outlandish, and evil thing to such gentle creatures? Of course, it was an Alliance player. My route didn't have much ore or players after that, so I found myself continuing quests in Stranglethorn, where we found a gnome mage. You've probably noticed by now that I have a prejudice against beings under 3'5". You'll have to see my previous videos to understand me. But if you've made it this far, consider liking the video, or leave a comment saying you made it this far. It'll help me in YouTube's algorithm, and I greatly appreciate it. Anyway, back to the video. I gathered 2 other players for an elite quest to kill Bagthera. While I was running over to the shaman that found our target, I walked too close to a group of elite mobs, then brought them to our group, killing everybody in the process, including myself. I still got what I personally needed, and I politely excused myself. It's here that this episode concludes. My channel is still doing better than I could possibly imagine, even amidst the new rules in my country. But it's okay, because you should buy every export we have. All of them, they are great. I love living here. Hello there. Thank you for watching my video. Any feedback would be much appreciated. Did you know that I stream sometimes, and that I have a Twitter account? Both are linked down below. Have a fantastic day, you beautiful human being you. Bye bye now.